On a Whim.
Hello on a Whim listeners, and welcome to season 2, episode 7. My name is Paul Vella, and I am one of your co-hosts.
And I'm Jeapordy Lewis Smith, and I'm your other co-host.
I don't know if you're the other co-host. You just
saying
the other. I mean, when you say other, it sounds so like defeatist. I'm the other co-host.
I didn't mean it. Like
You are you are 50% of this thing, man. So I appreciate you being willing to come in and sit down with me and record this next however long of nonsense it's gonna be. Do I want to promise our listeners a certain amount of time? Not really. I don't like commitment. You know me. But will our podcast be between 45 and 60 minutes? Probably. Will it be less any more than that? I don't know. It depends on how our topics go and how into it we are, because we want to reproduce top quality content for all of you. And when we start phoning it in, maybe it's time to close up shop and we'll start recording again. But you can, we can promise we will be releasing our projects on Tuesdays. That's when you can expect a On a Whim product to be released on various podcast platforms now because of a certain program we're going to be using. I don't want to say it because, they're not sponsoring us, but all in due time, we'll get it out there to more people, and I think that's the way to go.
Yeah.
So Jeapordy, what you been up to since the beginning of the year? I mean, I know you're working. We mentioned that last episode. Did you buy any stonks?
Yeah. I already had some stonks already
stonks.
In session.
you gotta say it like stonks. You can't just like stonk. Yeah.
So
man, that GameStop ride, man.
Do you remember? I think it was last year or 2 years ago. No, I think it was last year. I told you guys, "Hey, I bought some GameStop stock," and you guys laughed at me.
Oh, I know.
Matt laughed at me.
I totally laughed at your ass. I did.
Now look at me now, bitches. Okay.
Did you sell when it was high?
Or do you still have them? I lost. I sold my GameStop stocks. I only had 2. I sold it 28 days before this whole thing.
Oh.
And I feel so stupid because I was like,
Jeapordy.
The whole time I had it, I was like, I know the company's probably going to go out of business soon, and this is going to be worthless, but let me just keep it for whatever reason. It's like I bought it for literally like $4 a piece. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I'll just keep it, whatever. And then like 28 days ago, before that whole break, I was just like, oh, okay, I don't need these stocks anymore. And I did make a little bit of money on it, but
you missed the rocket to the moon.
But I missed that, yeah.
Oh, quiet sobbing. Quiet sobbing. Because you could have sold it at $500 a share. I think that's the peak before it plummeted. I mean, so I've gone on Robinhood and I've gone onto there and I'm started dabbling and looking into what some good long-term investments are. Yeah, Robinhood. Yeah, I get it. Whatever. I got to watch that live. I got to see that spike and then just the nosedive. And I was like, wow, so many people are going to be pissed.
To be honest, that's what a lot of these stocks do, actually. Like these penny stocks like that. Like they do that all the time. So like if I did have that GameStop stock, I would have sold right when I heard like it reached $300. I would have just sold instantly because I know it's a bubble.
Yep.
And it's a quick bubble. Like those are one of the quickest bubbles right there. Like I knew it's going to go all the way back down to nearest price. I think actually it's still how much is it now? It's probably in the hundreds now, which is still pretty good compared to a month ago when it was only like $4 or less.
I think at this point it's $75. I mean, if I can check Robinhood real quick, I could, but yeah, it's in that upper $50-$60 range. I mean, you still could make a good fair profit off of it if you bought it at $4 and sold it right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because the whole
66.
GameStop thing, right? GameStop stock. Say that 5 times fast.
GameStop
A direct result of these multi-billionaires messing with gamers. And I think one of the funniest things I saw on Reddit out of that was you are picking a fight with people that have been born and raised on the internet and how to coordinate these advanced raids and, coordinating, these multi MMO RPG style, stuff going on. And you're picking with the wrong people.
You're picking with people that know how to troll.
Yeah, we if anyone knows
trolls.
how to troll, and we talked about briefly on the last episode, gamers know how to troll and grief. And some people, that's how they make their living, just griefing and trolling. Good times. So Jabari missed the train. I made some longer term investments. I want to see how they play out. And it's curious because some people were really thinking the stock market was going to be like their personal, cash bank system, like it is for the 1%, right? The multi-billionaires. It's their personal playground. But some people thought GameStop was going to $1,000 a share, and I'm like, that's not how this is not how this works. It's not how any of this works. But then I talked to some other people that are like, well, it was a movement, Paul. You don't understand. We were standing up for something. We were standing up for the little guy. I'm like, do I want to do that? Yes.
For how long?
But I'm not going to lose my shirt over, it's not something I'm like, if the school budgets, were to be cut and people were getting laid off, would I protest a little bit? Yeah, I might join the picket line as an educator, right? But I mean, that's not how I roll. I don't know how you would feel about willing to lose your shirt over making the stand, right? I mean, some point diminishing returns, right? I mean, if you bought at 300 and it's down to 75, you might as well hold it because you right? But if you bought at 4 and you sold at 100, there's no shame in that, I don't think.
Yeah, definitely not at all.
Yeah, and that toxicity comes through again, right? It's thanks to you and Reddit, man. Wall Street bets, that thing's a cesspool. You paper-handed, don't want to know what you're doing. We got to be like a diamond hand and be a real man. I'm like, there's that culture, there's that toxicity. Why can't we all just get along and be happy for one another? No, that's not how video games roll. So, so that was the stonks.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, AMC. I hope they do this. I hope Reddit does it again with AMC. Because I did bought that AMC a couple months ago as well, like 7 stocks of it.
I bought into AMC as well.
Oh, really?
So and Nokia, right? No, it's a good comeback story if these companies actually pay off, right? Because I feel bad for movie theaters, but to be honest, even though I have stock in AMC, and disclaimer, right? I think movie theaters are done. I think after this pandemic, after not being able to go to them and having them pretty much closed, I think they're going to reopen. And that stock's going to spike because there's going to be people going back to the movies, but for the novelty of it, right? Oh, we can go back to the movies. Yay. But truth be told, it's so much easier for my sorry ass to stay home in my room, in my lazy boy chair, put on Disney Plus and watch the next Marvel movie there, or Soul, like the Disney movie, right? Exactly. I rather do that. I don't have to put on I can be in my comfy clothes. I can be in my sweats and ugly clothes. I don't have to look good for anything. I mean, I never look good to begin with, but I don't have to go out in public. And I think at the end of the day, that is going to trump anything else. And I think movie theaters are done, in my opinion. I could be wrong. I want to be wrong because I have stock in it, but it would be nice to see that comeback story. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
we'll
know,
see.
you know,
We'll definitely
yeah,
see soon.
exactly. I mean, those vaccines are coming out.
Yeah.
I'm scheduled to get mine late this month, early next month.
Oh, you're
as
important
educator.
enough to get one?
I'm an educator, so something about kids
Oh,
having to
yeah.
be in school or some shit like that. Who knows,
Oh,
right?
yeah, whatever.
Well, that's not important or anything. Not to the last administration, but to this one. Apparently, the president's married to an educator. Imagine that. Imagine school being important, right? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not getting political on this podcast, or maybe I do. I haven't decided yet. Having the first lady of the United States, right? Having a doctorate in education, Dr. Jill Biden, that just feels so different, Jeapordy, already. I mean, I feel so much better about being an American just in the first month since this transition, right? Not even a month, just a couple weeks in, and I already feel so much better about being an American. I don't know about you or any of our listeners. Maybe this is gonna get some angry hate mail from you. It's okay. Send it to I don't care at whimity.com. Speaking of which, we should probably start making some like social media that corresponds to our platform, right? You know, on a whim at something or a Twitter, some. We'll come up with some. We have a Discord, sure, right? Our listeners can come to our Discord page, right, Jeapordy?
Yeah.
We can make a little Reddit channel
stuff
for them, a Discord channel for them or something if they want to interact with us and ask questions they want to see. We'll come up with something for you listeners. It'll good to be interact with people who actually listen to these rantings, right? So speaking of a good comeback story, right? We want to see the movie theaters come back. We want to see the theaters do well. We want to go back to normalcy. It's all part of that the show must go on mentality, right, Jeapordy? Are you one of those people in the film production as a thespian? No matter what happens, the show must go on. Are you one of those people?
It depends what goes on, man. Maybe I'm not. It depends what's happening. I mean, if somebody gets shot, on stage, I don't think the best idea is to go be the next person to go on stage and start doing your lines because you might get shot too. I think the best choice is to run. But
I mean, that's an extreme case, right? But like, let's say the lead actor, right? Let's say it's what's a good lead role I can think of that would, like, let's say Juliet, right? In Romeo and Juliet, the actress suddenly gets ill mid scene or something. The understudy would take over, right? The understudy can step in and be ready to go, right? The show must go on. But
it can go on because we're prepared.
But how many things in life should go on? Like that's great thespian film redundancy. I get it, right? But how many things in real life must the show go on? At some point, it should stop, right? Like the law of diminishing returns. And the best example I can give recently was Jeopardy, right? Unfortunately, Alex Trebek, the longtime host of Jeopardy, passed away, right? Due to pancreatic cancer, right? And rest in peace, right?
Rest in peace.
I don't think I love Jeopardy. Don't get me wrong, but I don't. Not looking for another replacement host, and whatever host they find. I know Ken Jennings was doing it for a while. They're looking for another co-host to come after him, just as not co-host, a replacement host, right? A temporary guest host. I don't think any host after that can follow up Alex Trebek. And Alex Trebek had years, decades to hone this talent. And it's almost like Jeopardy is better off just coming to an end, like ending on that, yes, sad, but that high point, right, of Alex Trebek. I don't know. What do you think, Jabbar? Should things come to an end? Because as gamers, as people who ingest entertainment, some things overstay their welcome. The best example is The Simpsons. So what do you think? Do things outstay their welcome?
Yeah, that's sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I mean, like, remember what's the show? Oh my gosh, not the Today Show, something show. Was it Today Show? The late night show? No.
With what's his name? Conan O'Brien, right?
No.
No.
All right, there's the black guy now. There's Trevor Noah, who's the
yeah. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So Jon Stewart was the one before, and then they transferred over. He stopped doing it, and they transferred over to this new one, and Trevor. And I felt like they could have ended with Jon Stewart, but moving on to Trevor, I think it was great. I love Trevor. So
he's hilarious.
That's
I like his little bits. One of my favorite parts of that was with he would send people like reporters out, and they would go to like Trump rallies and ask them like real questions.
Yeah, I think I saw a couple.
Yeah, I love that guy. I mean, I love those segments. Right, Trevor Noah's hilarious. I like the voices he can do. It's like Fluffy, right? Gabriel Iglesias. He reminds me of that. The voices he can do. So I mean, that's a good example of they did their research. They found somebody who can take the helm from Jon Stewart, right? But then like I'm thinking The Simpsons, right? The Simpsons had a legitimate heyday. I mean, we were still in diapers probably when they were reaching the best they could do, right? I think it was 93, 94, 95 they were having their best seasons. And then season 12 and beyond, there's some gems in there. But then you get to the more modern seasons. Right now, I haven't seen a single episode beyond like season 30, I think. And the quality, you can see the quality just nosedive. And The Simpsons had moments where they could have ended the show and it would have been great. That would have been like, okay, that was a good ending. Futurama was another good show that had an ending. They knew that what they were doing was not sustainable. They knew that they were going to be canceled again. So they rather just end the show and end it well. So, I mean, what do you think, Jabari? Should shows end, or should they, like The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, try to find someone like a Trevor Noah? But then how much time are you willing to put in that process? And then the growing pains that come with the audience. Because the fanboys, as you know, we talked about last episode, we're a demanding bunch.
So I think the reason why they continue to do like these shows, even though they're like, they're done with their heyday season, or episodes, is because, the money. People are demanding it.
Hey, must be the money.
It must be the money. Yeah, the money is good for the companies and the actors and stuff like that. They want to continue working on it as much as possible, and keep milking this cash cow. Right? And the fans there's hardcore fans for these shows as well. That they don't want it to be canceled. If it gets canceled, they complain about it, and then you see later on that these shows come back. And people are like, oh, yeah. But usually it's not that great afterwards. But Futurama was canceled before, right? And then
multiple times, yeah.
Multiple times. And then they always came back with something, right?
Well, that was due to syndication, right? Because a lot of shows make a lot of money with syndication, right? I think Jerry Seinfeld is still making millions a year in just Seinfeld reruns, and so are like Jennifer Aniston and that crew from Friends, right? They make just an obscene amount of money just on syndication alone. Just shows. So that's how Family Guy came back. I don't know if you remember when Family Guy was canceled on Fox.
Oh, I didn't know they were canceled. I knew it got terrible after after all these seasons. I stopped watching it, but I didn't know they got canceled, and I just know they've been making crap lately.
Well, I mean, yeah, that Simpsons effect, right? At some point, your quality is going to decrease just based on your heyday, your high points, right?
Yeah. What
happened with Family Guy was Adult Swim picked up syndication of Family Guy, and then people remembered the quality of Family Guy, right? And then it's making money, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
If something makes money, they're going to want to keep making money.
Yeah.
And not what's his name? Seth, not Seth Rogen, the guy who makes all the Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah, I mean the man is talented. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I might not always agree with him with some things of the shit he comes up with, but it is what it is. But I'm not a fan of Family Guy structure anymore. Like, at some point, they made Stewie from being a diabolical genius to being this just shell of a character that he used to be, right? Like he's almost like what was it called? A dramatization of someone who is like overtly homosexual, right? He's like that character, right? Just it doesn't like what's like when the old guy used to hit on Chris, right? When Herbert, right? It's like,
yeah,
what am I watching here? Why is this? This isn't funny anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing. It's funny for a little bit, and then it stops getting funny after the 10th time or so.
So did we grow up, Jeapordy? Is that what it is? Did we grow up out of that? Like did we reach an age where like we start noticing like, I don't know this. Why am I watching this? This is making me feel I need an adult, right? But then you find out you're the adult until you look for an adultier adult. Listener, I remember one time Jeapordy messaged me out of the blue and says, "Paul, I need an adult." And I'm like, oh dear God, what happened? It wasn't that big of a deal, but the fact that Jeapordy used the words "I need an adult," like I felt my stomach dropped. Like what happened? What's on fire?
I did a no.
I
did a no, Paul.
Not in that moment, but you could have done. It could have been worse.
I don't even remember what it was, but it's probably really bad.
It was someone's title or something like that. We'll talk.
Oh,
we don't need to go into it much more than that, but it was a good outcome. So let me ask you this. So we grew up with these, this slapstick style comedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
At some point, we grew up and realized that what we were watching doesn't make me feel comfortable anymore, right? And I think we touched on it really briefly last week on episode 2.6 about the Me Too movement and just this over sexualization of people. And sometimes you do fear for people who are cosplaying because some people don't have that. They don't have those boundaries. They don't have that, that cringe factor. Like, dude, why are you making fun of a pedophile? I mean, why are you making light of it, right? Like Family Guy does, and making Stewie just be a flaming homosexual, a stereotypical one, right? And they're not. I don't think they're consulting anyone in the LGBTQ community to make Stewie look better, right? So, I mean, the best way I can so what is Whim Indie doing about it, right? So Whim Indie goes to conventions, and I'm guilty of this. I'll put it out there. I've been caught staring way too long at someone cosplay, and I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, right? And I felt there was a need for me to make a Whim Indie policy to address people's conduct, our contributors' conduct, if they are attending a convention, right? So in a way, it was for me to lay out the framework that if you are caught with some kind of misconduct, you take it too far. No means no, mother effer. Yep. And if for whatever reason you're caught thinking no means yes, then you're gone. There's only so much, asked. Right? And a lot of companies are doing that, and not just because of the current political climate, but because fans have so much power. I think you made that point earlier during our little intermission, right? If you don't, I don't want to say give in to peer pressure, but if you don't listen to your fans and your fans are saying, hey, this is not good, this isn't appropriate, you need to do something about it, right? If you don't answer to that, you're done.
Exactly.
Right. So I mean, yeah.
It's It's crazy. Yeah, I'm really glad like you actually put forward into these like sexual conduct rules into it. For a second, I was like, oh, are these directed at me? Did I do something bad that I didn't do it? What I do, Paul? Because I guess in the past I've been known as I guess I would do like sexual jokes and stuff like that, and
Can
you
I
know,
can I
never.
mention one of them? Can I mention one
Yeah,
of them
go
on the
for
air?
it. Go for it.
We were out to eat one day before a convention. So we were as a studio. We went as a meet. We went to eat prior to going to Level Up Expo in Las Vegas. And I remember distinctly Jabari talking dirty to his food. and he's like, the things I'm gonna do to you, just get that meat in my mouth. And everyone at the table stopped eating to look at Jabari. And Jabari's in the zone, right? Jabari's like not, he's not thirsty. He's just hungry. You know what I mean? And Jabari's a different individual, but no, it was not directed to you. It was not directed to anyone in particular at the studio.
Mm-hmm.
It was directed towards a certain other media company who's had, in light of their struggles
Mm-hmm.
of their code of conduct coming into play and them having to get rid of certain popular personalities due to their misconduct, due to their not their political opinions per se,
Mm-hmm.
but how they went about expressing them. Like they support. What was that?
I'm sorry. You are so good at like keeping it so classified. I'm like, I can't even do that. I'll be naming everybody right now.
Thank you for that. I mean, so the fact that, like, for example, someone threatening the life of a congresswoman,
Mm-hmm.
AOC, right? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. The fact that she's gotten death threats and the fact that she doesn't feel safe with her own colleagues in Congress speaks volumes for the current political climate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I felt not only that, but then this policy came out before that happened, but the fact that I think internet anonymity, the fact that I can type something completely anonymously to somebody, I sincerely feel that there needs to be consequences for you saying these things. It's like yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. You just, there's no room for hate speech. There is no room for homophobia. There is no room for thinking of an individual as just a piece of meat, a sex object, right? And
yeah,
I've had to, pop, slap myself, snap out of it. Get out. Because some of these
no
people
horny.
yeah, exactly. Go to horny jail, right? I think that's the joke online.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to check yourself and realize in this moment you are representing not just who you are as a human, but the entities you work for, right? Like you're here for Women Independent Studios. And if it gets out that you are guilty of not asking for consent, in my head, you're good as gone, in my opinion. Because how would that look back on the company? I'm HR of Women. I mean, my job is to protect the studio, So, and remember that's for everybody, folks. HR does not protect you as an individual; protects the company. And if you're gonna make a company look bad, you got to go.
The law has been, the gauntlet has been thrown, or whatever it is.
The same. I mean, basically, right? I mean, that's kind of where this whole Me Too thing is. And we were talking about briefly last week too, right? The fact that people think they can get away with it, and there's no consequences. And I don't get it, Jabari. It's a new day and age, and it's at this point, it's either you get your head right and you tame your urges and hey, tape it to your leg if you have to. Whatever you got to do, whatever your parts are, secure them. Don't act on those impulses and take away someone's like their livelihood, their career, and if you harm somebody, you're gonna get there's a consequence.
Exactly. It's so
Yeah.
easy to, just act like a normal person, right? And issues that people don't have that common sense, or they grew up thinking that, this is okay. Acting like this is okay. I'm allowed to do this, or I am in this because I'm this person, because I'm some famous actor. I could do whatever I want, and there would be no consequences or anything like that. Matter of fact, you're gonna like it because it's me. And just people's mentalities, how they grew up or raised, and it's scary. Each person is different, and you sometimes you just don't know how what they're thinking about, or how they really are under the table until you get to know them a little bit more.
Right.
And yeah, it's just scary. So these rules need to be placed out there, because you don't know if your buddy over there that maybe even that you've been working with for the last 3 years could be like some child predator or something like that.
Exactly.
And and today's world, you just don't know.
You just don't know.
Scary.
Exactly.
Yeah. So now people are getting caught. People are listening to the voices that have been screaming for years about these sexual misconduct that's going on, and now people are getting pressed for it and losing their careers, and now people are scared too. So I'm like, good, you should be scared,
as it should be, right? Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's really unfortunate that it's had to be like this, right? Why can't people just be a decent human being, right? I mean, but as we talked about last week, there's so much toxicity within nerd culture and video gaming and just life, period. I mean, just I don't know. Is there any solution that we can implement now as I'm a 30 something. You're still your late 20s. You enjoy that right while it lasts. But what 30 is gonna come quick, bro. I'm telling you, the other day I woke up and I heard something crack that never cracked before. So
oh, no.
Like, what was that? So I was asking my younger cousin, and she's an 8th grader, so she's a teenager. I think she's going on 14. And I asked her, can this be solved? And the Me Too movement, Black Lives Matter, can we address this problem within our lifetime? So I'm 30. I have probably another 30 to 40 years, depending on how I decide to eat my next burger or not. In her lifetime, it could be another 70, 80 years, right? Can this be resolved within our lifetimes? And her very sobering answer was, probably not. But we're making strides toward as much as we
can. I think that's exactly the answer to go with. That's how I feel as well. Probably not, but we can build. We're building ourselves. We're pushing forward.
The fact that I made our code of conduct that I had to make for the studio. I got it from some other company who also had to make a code of conduct and have actively used it to apply discipline to these individuals. Right? There is no place for racism. There is no place for sexism, homophobia. That's got to go. And that even applies to the listeners, to the fans, right? If you're going to bring this toxicity in, we don't have to take it. You can go, right?
We don't want you here.
Yeah, we have the amount of times where you go to on a forum or a community board and saying, I don't like this. I'm never buying this again. And it's something really inclusive, or it's something that promotes equity. And if you don't like that, goodbye. Don't hope we never see you again. Don't let your ass hit my door on the way out. I don't want ass prints on my door. I mean, right?
Yeah.
But then at the same time, it kind of makes like what was my point? The fact that people feel threatened by this. People feel like, oh, you're just targeting conservatives, or you're just targeting us, right? This X group, right?
Okay.
And if, in my head, if you think that way, then you're part of the problem. Then you're the one guilty of that, right? You internalized it. And guess what? You got to go.
You got to go.
So speaking of toxicity, Jabbar, we've had some not toxic, but we've had some not so happy fans sometimes on when it comes to our products, huh?
Yeah, there's some when you're promoting, and like I do the marketing for Whim Indie, so
no, give yourself your title. You are the marketing director. You have a team.
Director. I have a marketing team, and our job is to get the word out of our games to the public. So we talk directly to the public, or people who play our games or potentially play our games. And there's a lot of good stuff that are being said about our games, and then there's a lot of bad stuff as well. And sometimes it's just like, wow, did you really have to say that? I mean, it's one of those things, like, if you want to give criticism, that's fine, but at least make it constructive so we can build upon it. I can't even say that. Build upon it.
I got you.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's crazy. And you learn real quick that, some people are just kind of assholes. It's kind of funny, but then there's also the whole other side about that. Like for our Kickstarter campaign, there's a couple of people who are just really strong advocates for our program. Like, they don't know who we are. They're from a different state. They never even talked to us before until they saw our Kickstarter for Spellbearers on there. And they're like, oh, this is great. This is wonderful. I want to join all their social networks. I want to talk to the people who are creating this game. And, I want to buy into all the special offers that they have and such. And, so it's two different... two whole different sides of the story,
of community engagement.
Yeah. And yeah.
So when do you take a comment that's negative in nature? It's not even, it's criticism, yes, but it's not constructive. It's all caustic remarks, right? It's just bile, right? When does a comment reach that level for you? Like, when do you look at it and say, well, I'm going to write that off because that was awful. When do you, in your mind, do you do it? So, like, for example, for me, when I read a comment that is not only not constructive, but I feel it was written with the intent of harm, right? With malice, and they put thought into this. Now, yeah, this sucked, not my kind of game, 1 star. Okay, it's not your game. Thank you for sharing. Have a good day, right? You can't save that fan, right? Or that person, right? They didn't like it for whatever reason. They give us 1 star. No, I mean, this person spent time and making this response, right? And when I see that malice and forethought, I write it off. I'm like, okay, that wasn't even worth reading. What I have become dumber for having read that comment. May God have mercy on that person's soul, right? For the listeners, I quoted a piece of what was it? Happy Madison? No. Was it Happy Madison? Or was it Billy Madison? Billy Madison, that was what it was. We all have become dumber for having heard that. May God have mercy on your soul. So yeah, for you, Jabbar, when do you see a comment, and when do you like, I'm dismissing that? That wasn't. Why'd you even?
Yeah, that's a good question, because to be honest, I don't know until I see that comment. Like, I have to think about it. Like, what are they trying to say? What is the inner thought to it? If it's, if it's feedback, there's good and there's bad feedback. I'm okay with any type of feedback. But if it's just like here, I'll give you an example of what recently happened, maybe like a month or 2 ago. I'm not sure if anybody on the team had seen it, the comment or not, but I saw it, and once I saw it, I deleted it instantly. They said the art in this game is shit, straight up like that. That was it. I'm like, what do I do with that?
Oh, it's gotta go.
Yeah. So instantly, I don't know. Did you see that? Did you see that?
No,
comment?
you deleted before I saw it. Then.
All right. Yeah. So I think once I saw that pop up, I read it. I was like, no, delete. That's not going to help anybody.
So
if it's comedy, that's not going to help anybody. Sorry.
No, you're good. So my measure of you wrote that with the intent to hurt someone's feelings, to make someone feel bad. So that's like the Paul's test for comment constructive, right? Because here at Whim Indie, we pride ourselves on taking negative feedback. We welcome it. Please let us know how our game sucks. We can make it better, right? We're okay with that. But your art is shit. I mean, no, you got to go. I'm sorry, no.
Yeah, because exactly what you're saying. Like it was meant to hurt somebody, and I did not want any of the artists, for whatever reference they're looking at, or art piece they're looking at. I don't want them to see that, or I don't want to keep that in that that pulse that's out there in the public. Right. It's just number one. It's not. Not even number one. It's the top priority was for me in that moment was I don't want any of the artists to feel bad about what they're doing or second guess their craft, because I know they work great. They work hard at what they're doing. They've been doing it for years and stuff. And the thing about it is that it wasn't even true. Like it, I guess maybe to them they didn't think it was so great, but I think the art is excellent. It's much better than I can ever do. Much better, and
I can barely do stick figures. Yeah, but way better than anything. Yeah, exactly. So let me riddle you this one. Do you remember the first crowdsourcing campaign for Solitrio, the Indiegogo?
I remember bits and pieces, but I wasn't really involved in it because I don't even think I was in Japan at the time.
I think you were in Japan, yeah.
Yeah, I just heard bits of it.
We got money from it, but we didn't reach the goal, right? And one of the chief things we observed in the comments of it was the art. The art could be better. The art could do this. And in that moment, there was enough constructive criticism about the art where we did have to step in and make an art decision and go with a different artist, right? I think you knew we changed art style. I'm sure you know that at least, right? We went from a certain style to the chibi art we have now, right? Which I like. I mean, but that comparing the two art styles, not to insult that artist originally. I mean, I don't want to do that. It's just the quality is drastically different, right? And could we have in that moment folded our arms and say, no, they're stupid. We're not listening to that, right? Could we have? For sure. But I think we took that feedback constructively. So that's different, right? That's someone not meaning to hurt anyone's feelings. That's just saying, where's the difference? Where's the line drawn, right? What was the difference between that comment and your art is shit? I think that it was the implied malice, right? I think that makes a difference. So, but yeah, the show goes on, right, Jeapordy? When did we announce Spellbearers is being released? When did we make that preliminary announcement? When is that date?
I don't think we actually made a release date for Spellbearers. We just said that it will be released sometime in April, or possibly April or March, or was March or April. That was.
I swear I saw a release date on that Spellbearers.
No,
not yet. Okay.
Internally, we've been talking about when it is, but it was all tentative. It was just
okay.
It was a date because we had to put it there because the store is asking for a certain date. So we can change it anytime we want.
So the public hasn't seen that yet.
Yeah, the public has not seen it.
All right. Well, listeners, you might hear it here first eventually. So stay tuned. But in fact, I'm just so thankful that Spellbearers is pretty much the money we made from it, thanks to you and and your marketing team,
Yeah,
it's
you
taken
guys
care of.
too.
It's
You guys
off the
help a
books.
lot.
But the best part is it's off the books, and it's
Mhm.
not off the books, but it's being taken care of, and there's enough money in the budget for that, and I'm so thankful for that because we're gonna have releasing 2 projects this year, and we'll see how we do with those 2. So stay tuned for that, listeners. But yeah, any other thoughts you have, Jabari, about either of subjects today, about the show must go on, or just
Hmm.
the over sexualization of video games and live TV, animation, or just trolling in general? Because we covered a wide variety of topics in a fairly short amount of time.
I
Any
I've
closing thoughts on either of those 3 subjects?
Yeah, I guess maybe on the sexual misconduct
Sure.
onto that. I just wish for people to have more common sense.
What is
I
that,
may-
Jabari? What is common?
what is common sense, right? You know, yeah. What is being a human being? What is being a proper human being?
So let me ask you this. This might open Pandora's box for these last few minutes of this podcast.
Mhm.
Is that taught? Should common sense be taught in school? Should we have etiquette classes again?
Should there be a class on common sense? I feel like maybe there should be something along the lines. There's a lot of things that are not taught in schools that should be taught, like financials, or sometimes they are, but it's not prioritized.
No, of course not.
Yeah, but yeah, common sense. It's like, where do you even start with that one? But then there, like, I could say, oh yeah, there should be a class on common sense, but it's like, outline what exactly is the basic common sense that people should know, at least, and
So,
try to
Gabriel-
establish that line. Things
Gabriel
change over time.
Iglesias
Go for it.
came up with a common sense, the same bit, right? There should be a class in high school called common sense. It'll be the same thing every day. Welcome to class. Sit down. And then left, right, up, down, sideways, notebook, take a shower, take a shower, take a shower. Because yes, people sometimes don't even know how to shower. Jabari, you smell confunk.
Yeah, it's not good. Oh my god.
Yeah. Was it the guy in the Deadpool suit that would walk by the booth a couple 3 years ago, I think, and you and me we would catch a whiff of whatever he was cooking right under that Deadpool suit, and you and me would like, you had the unicorn, remember? He had the
I
little
remember
pony.
that guy. Yeah, I remember his
weird.
penis showing a little bit. Yeah, he was a weird dude. It was hilariously weird too. Like,
Yeah, like
I kind of wanted to talk to him just to see like what type of person he is, because he's so freaking weird. But it's
and
like,
the worst part was he was like staring at our booth because we have some individuals at our booth that are known to be attractive looking to his species, right? And he kept staring at people at our booth, and I'm like, dude, can I help you? And he'd look at me and just scurry away. Remember?
petting his
like
pony or whatever.
Petting his pony.
And that suit was too small for him. You can see everything. You saw those ass cheeks and I'm sorry, because
No, it's fine. It's fine. I mean, but dear God, I was like, really, dude? You need to go. So whenever I saw him, I would make it as painful, awkward for him as possible. But I would call him, "What's going on, Deadpool? How's that pony?" He'd run away scurrying. So, but here's the thing. Now, there is such an emphasis in high school and in school general of just achievement. I think we're counting on a lot of people to teach common sense at home, and I think that's
the
where
parents' job.
Yeah, right. The parents' job, right?
Uh-huh.
And I don't get it, Jabbar, because back in the day, there used to be an etiquette class. There used to be etiquette where you be shipped off, well, for the wealthy people, right? To be shipped off to to how to be a lady, how to be a gentleman, right? And learn. And my mom tells me horror stories of of nuns smacking her hand with a ruler because she used the wrong fork at dinner, right? I mean, so is that a solution? Probably not. But how do you teach common sense these days? Why do people run red lights, Jeapordy? Not just, you're halfway through and my light has turned green and I have to look left and look right to make sure there's no one about to go through the light. Why is that happening? I don't understand.
People are idiots.
Help me understand.
They can't.
Viewers, listeners, you're not viewing this anymore. Listeners, if you have an answer for this, we would love to hear it. You are all cordially invited to our Discord. We will post the link to the invite for our official Discord underneath the comment section under these. Can you do that in the descriptions or?
Yeah, for some places we can.
Yeah,
this will definitely be on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah. So how will we where the YouTube would just be us, our voices and our little chibis on screen? Would that be just the YouTube video version of
our
this?
voices, our chibis and stuff like that, and maybe a little razzle-dazzle just to make it a little bit more interesting. But we'll see what happens.
I can hear my dog barking in the background, and I can see the little spikes. So, a shout out to our audio engineer, Shadow, who will no doubt have to deal with all our ums and random dog barkings and people talking in the background. Shadow, thank you so much. We appreciate you. But yeah, this has been an interesting episode 2.7 of the On a Whim podcast. This has been Paul Vella.
And I'm Jeapordy Lewis Smith.
And we thank you so much. Make sure to rate us. Make sure to give us 5 stars. And if you're going to leave feedback, make sure it's constructive. Don't be a troll. All right, y'all. Keep it nerdy. Till next time.